A former Knockouts champion has officially returned to Impact Wrestling at Multiverse of Matches and will be facing Deonna Purrazzo at Rebellion for her titles. All this and more in today's Impact Wrestling news. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of Impact Wrestling, and this one's going to be a bit shorter. I know the world is going to be talking about WWE WrestleMania. Obviously, a lot of people are going to be talking about Supercard of Honor last night and AEW and Samoa Joe and all that kind of stuff, and we have spoken about that here on the channel. Be sure to check out those videos. But I do want to talk briefly about Impact Wrestling. I don't want them to get lost in this big weekend festival of professional wrestling. Because last night, of course, was the Multiverse of Matches. We saw matches such as Nick Aldis and Mickie James teaming up against Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green. We saw the Ultimate X match. We saw a lot of fun matches. We saw the Good Brothers versus the Briscoes. Just after the Briscoes lost the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships, it was a hell of a night of pro wrestling. But a big story, arguably the biggest story coming out of Multiverse of Matches, was the return of a former Knockouts champion, that being Taya Valkyrie. She is back in Impact Wrestling. Taya Valkyrie has returned to Impact. Now, Friday's Multiverse of Matches event at WrestleCon saw AAA Reina de Reinas champion and Ring of Honor Women's World Champion Deonna Purrazzo retain her AAA title over Fabi Apache in another Champ challenge. Now, as Purrazzo was cutting a promo on the new Ring of Honor Interim Women's World Champion Mercedes Martinez, who won the interim title by defeating Willow Nightingale at Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor 15, Valkyrie made her return and interrupted the promo. Valkyrie and Purrazzo had words, and the match for the AAA Reina de Reinas title was confirmed for the upcoming Impact Rebellion pay-per-view. Now, as of right now, it must be said, just briefly as we talk about Deonna Purrazzo, there is no word yet on when Purrazzo versus Martinez for the undisputed Ring of Honor Women's World Championship will take place. Of course, we'll keep you updated. Now, Valkyrie is very well known to every Impact Wrestling fan because she spent more than 3 years with Impact before leaving in January of last year. She signed with WWE in February, debuting as Frankie Monet, but her time in the company was very short. She was released this past November. Valkyrie, of course, had the longest Knockouts World Championship reign in Impact Wrestling history at 377 days for her first and only run with the title, which went from January 6, 2019 until January 18, 2020. The 2022 Impact Rebellion pay-per-view will take place on Saturday, April 23rd from the Mid-Hudson Civic Arena in Poughkeepsie, New York. Several other matches have been announced for that show. I mean, I think the future almost looks a bit bleak for Deonna Purrazzo and her championship reigns. I think we don't really honestly know what the future of Taya Valkyrie looks like in Impact Wrestling. I would say logically she's probably going to be appearing regularly going forward. What we do know, though, is that Taya Valkyrie is going to be appearing for AAA a lot going forward. She's made appearances for AAA. I wouldn't be shocked if Taya Valkyrie wins the AAA Women's Championship at Rebellion and then goes off into AAA. I wouldn't be shocked if this is just a vehicle to get the belt on Taya Valkyrie. If AAA have said we want the belt on Taya Valkyrie, and then she's going to be doing what she's going to be doing in AAA. Because, of course, we know she's got a huge history competing in Mexico, etc. Or this could just be the beginning of Taya Valkyrie coming back to Impact. And I spoke about this before, actually, that obviously the Knockouts division is a cornerstone of Impact, of what they've achieved and done throughout the history, and I still think, in my opinion, it's the second strongest women's division in North America. You could obviously make arguments about Stardom and all that when it comes to the world, but behind WWE, which I know is always controversial when I say this on the channel, but behind WWE, which I still think is the strongest women's division in the world because just the stars that they have, frankly, and they do have some good wrestlers in there. The only problem with WWE, of course, is that women's division is still really centered around the Four Horsewomen, and they've been unable to build really new female stars in that company, which is a problem. But I still think they have the strongest women's division. I think behind them is Impact Wrestling, of course, with the likes of Deonna Purrazzo and the great matches that she's had with so many people. Now, Deonna Purrazzo has had matches with Taya Valkyrie. I think, was it Taya Valkyrie's last match in the company, if I'm correct? Might have been against Deonna Purrazzo. One of her last matches in the company was against Deonna Purrazzo. Now, it's also funny because the way that Taya Valkyrie, if I recall correctly, was written out of Impact Wrestling storyline was that she was the one who shot Johnny Bravo. Like that whole crazy storyline that involved AC Romero and Larry D and the Perfume and all that kind of stuff, and then Rosemary, who was great friends with Taya Valkyrie, and they were going after the Knockouts Tag Team Championships, and then because she gone to jail or something like that in Impact Wrestling storyline. So no, in Impact, I don't think they'll ignore that. I don't think they'll be like, oh yeah, all that kind of stuff. I think they'll have to address it, and I think they'll probably play it off as something. But it was just great to hear Taya Valkyrie's music back. It was just great to have her back in an Impact Wrestling ring. And like I said, I think frankly she's gone through, her WWE experience was rough. It was really rough. I mean, when she signed with WWE, it was somewhat of an eyebrow raiser in the sense that she's 38, 39, and WWE just, not even with females, definitely with females, but certainly just in general, they don't tend historically to hire older pro wrestlers, and it felt like her time had passed, and she came into WWE and everyone was excited. I didn't even think she needed to go to NXT. I thought should have gone straight to the main roster, worked with John Morrison on Raw. That didn't happen, obviously, and they went through a lot. They lived in, I think, Los Angeles. They moved to Tampa to be closer to the Performance Center, and just as they moved, they fired her because she didn't fit the current NXT model. The current NXT model is younger and is from an athletic background, and that's not Taya Valkyrie. She's a pro wrestler and she's older. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but she didn't fit. But there's no mistaking that Taya Valkyrie is a great pro wrestler, and if Impact Wrestling have got her for the longer term, then I think that's a massive, massive bonus. I still think, to be honest, they struggled to replace her. She was so integral to the Knockouts division for the 3 years that she was there, especially during her over 1 year title reign, that when she left, I remember saying at the time, that's really tough. It's a big blow, and people have to step up during that period of time. And some people have. It's Deonna Purrazzo's division, in my opinion, but you've also got the rise of people like Tasha Steelz. Of course, Mickie James now is regularly competing in Impact Wrestling as well. So there are certainly matches there for Taya Valkyrie to have if she is sticking around longer. But again, we don't know at the moment, ultimately. All that we know is that match is going to happen at Rebellion. But the card, certainly for Rebellion, is very, very strong, right? You've got a very strong card there. Again, I think the only thing when it comes to Deonna Purrazzo is I look at the bout she has right now. I look at the AAA Women's Championship and I say I could definitely see Taya Valkyrie winning that. Absolutely see Taya Valkyrie winning that, because I think, again, given her relationship with AAA and all that kind of stuff, I think it makes sense that she might win that one. And we don't know what Tony Khan's plans are really for the Ring of Honor Women's Division. We know that Mercedes Martinez is the interim champion, and we know that Deonna Purrazzo is under contract to Impact Wrestling. So we just don't know what that looks like at the moment, and I wouldn't be shocked, honestly, if the plan is to have Mercedes Martinez be the undisputed Ring of Honor Women's Champion because Tony Khan wants to keep everything in-house. I think that's the direction he might go in. So we could see Deonna Purrazzo, after having these champ challenges for a few months, we could see her in the relatively near future without any championships, which again would be certainly interesting development. But I still think her future is the Knockouts Championship. Again, I don't think it's going to be long before she wins the Knockouts Championship, because again, it's her division. She's right up there with the best female pro wrestlers in the world right now. So I think that's the direction that they're going to go in. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts on this Impact Wrestling news story in the comment section below. Be sure to like and subscribe to Wrestle News 365, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.